I worked a night shift as a 911 dispatcher in Phoenix, Arizona for almost 6 years. People think the hardest part of the job is hearing someone scream. It isn't. It's the silence. The kind of silence that comes right before someone says something that changes your life forever. By the fall of 2024, I thought I'd heard everything. Domestic disputes, car crashes, home invasions, suicides, children calling because they couldn't wake up their parents. After thousands of emergency calls, you develop a routine. You stop expecting surprises. You stop believing anything can shake you. I was wrong. There is one call I still think about almost every day. I can't tell you the real names of the people involved, and a few details have been changed for privacy, but the events you're about to hear happened during one shift I'll never forget. It started on a Tuesday, October 22nd, 2:41 in the morning. It had been unusually quiet. My partner, Lisa, had stepped away to refill her coffee. The dispatch floor was almost empty, just the constant hum of computers and the occasional radio traffic from patrol officers. Then my headset beeped. Incoming 911 call. I clicked accept. 911, what's your emergency? For a few seconds, nothing, no breathing, no crying, not even background noise. I checked the connection. The line was still active. 911, can you hear me? Then I heard a man inhale sharply, like he'd been holding his breath. When he finally spoke, his voice was calm. Too calm. Can you tell me what time it is? I looked at the clock on my monitor. 2:41. He let out a slow breath. So, I still have 4 minutes. I frowned. Sir, what do you mean? He ignored the question. Instead, he asked another one. How many people are working with you tonight? That immediately caught my attention. Callers ask for help. They don't ask about staffing. I'm going to need to know what your emergency is. Another pause. Then, I think someone is inside my house. Now we were getting somewhere. I opened the call log and started typing. Okay, sir, what's your address? He gave me an address on the north side of Phoenix. I repeated it back to confirm. Then I dispatched the nearest patrol unit. Estimated arrival time, 7 minutes. I hated hearing that. 7 minutes can feel like forever when someone believes they're not alone. Can you tell me your name? My name's Daniel. Last name? Silence. I don't think that's important. I kept my voice steady. Daniel, are your doors locked? Yes. Can you see anyone inside the house? No. Then what makes you think someone is there? This time, his answer made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Because I heard footsteps upstairs. I looked down at the incident notes. Okay, stay where you are. Don't go upstairs. Officers are already on their way. Another pause. Then he quietly said, I wasn't planning to. Good, because he lowered his voice almost to a whisper. I'm upstairs. For the first time that night, I stopped typing. He continued, I'm hiding in the guest bedroom. So if I heard footsteps above me, he didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. I immediately radioed responding officers. Advise units, caller is upstairs. Possible suspect inside the residence. Use caution. The first officer acknowledged. 3 minutes out. I turned back to Daniel. Stay on the line with me. I'm here. Can you lock the bedroom door? It doesn't have a lock. Can you block it? I already did. I listened carefully. Still nothing. No footsteps. No doors closing. No voices. Just Daniel's breathing. Then, a sound, so faint I almost missed it. 3 slow knocks. Knock. Knock, knock. Knock. Not on the phone. Not near the microphone. On a wooden door. Daniel stopped breathing. I whispered, Daniel. He answered immediately. That wasn't the bedroom door. I felt my stomach tighten. What door was it? He took several shaky breaths before answering. The bedroom is behind me. The knocking, it came from inside the closet. For a second, I honestly thought I'd misheard him. The knocking came from the closet. I looked at the timer on my screen. The call had only been active for 3 minutes. It already felt like half an hour. I kept my voice as calm as I could. "Daniel, I need you to listen to me. I'm listening. Don't move. Don't make any noise. The officers are less than 3 minutes away." "I know." His breathing was controlled, not panicked, not frantic, just tense, like someone trying very hard not to make a sound. Then I heard it, a faint creak, wood, very slow, almost like a closet door opening. I leaned closer to my headset. "Daniel?" He didn't answer. "Daniel, talk to me," a whisper. So, it wasn't the closet. What? The sound. It came from behind the closet. I frowned. "What do you mean behind it? There isn't supposed to be anything behind it." Before I could respond, I heard another noise. This one was unmistakable. A man's voice, very faint, too muffled to understand. It wasn't Daniel. It sounded farther away, like it was coming through a wall. I immediately started another incident log. Possible second person inside residence. I radioed responding officers. "Be advised, dispatcher can hear an unidentified male voice on the line." The officer acknowledged. 1 minute out, I looked back at the waveform on my monitor. Daniel hadn't spoken in almost 20 seconds, only breathing. Then, very quietly, he said something I almost missed. He's talking to himself. I felt a chill run down my arms. Who is the man? What is he saying? Daniel swallowed. "I can't tell. It sounds like..." He keeps repeating the same sentence. I waited. Finally, Daniel whispered, "Pick up the phone." I looked down at my keyboard. My fingers froze. "Daniel, you're already on the phone." "I know. He's not talking to me." The line went completely silent. No breathing, nothing. Then, a loud bang echoed through my headset. Daniel gasped, "They're here." Relief hit me immediately. The officers? No. Before I could ask another question, I heard footsteps, running, not upstairs, downstairs, fast, heavy, then the unmistakable sound of a front door slamming shut. Daniel let out a shaky breath. I think whoever was inside just left. I grabbed my radio. "Unit 12, caller reports suspect may have exited the residence." The officer answered instantly. "We're outside now." I blinked. Outside, my monitor still showed their GPS. They had just arrived. "Unit 12, confirm you're on scene." "Affirmative." I turned back to Daniel. "The officers are outside your house." Another pause. Then he said, "No, they're not." My heart skipped. "What do you mean?" "I can see them. They're still turning onto my street." I looked back at the dispatch map. The patrol car icon hadn't moved. It was parked directly in front of Daniel's address, exactly where the officer claimed to be. Then Daniel said something that made no sense. "There are 2 police cars." I stared at the screen. "What?" "One just pulled into my driveway. The other one is already parked there." Every dispatcher learns to trust the radio, the GPS, the officers, the system. But at that moment, the system and my caller were describing 2 completely different scenes. I keyed my microphone. "Unit 12, can you confirm you're the only vehicle at the residence?" A pause. Then the officer answered, "Negative. There is another patrol car already here." Silence filled the dispatch floor. I quickly pulled up the unit roster. There shouldn't have been another cruiser anywhere near that neighborhood. Not at this hour. Not on that street. I asked the question every dispatcher dreads asking. "Unit 12, can you identify the vehicle?" Another pause. Longer this time. When the officer spoke again, his voice sounded different. Lower, less certain. "Dispatch, the car has our department markings. It has our unit number. It even has my license plate." He stopped talking. I heard a car door open over the radio. Then, very quietly, he said, "I'm looking at myself." Nobody spoke. Not me, not Daniel, not the officers. For nearly 5 seconds, all I could hear was the faint hiss of radio static. Then Officer Reynolds came back over the radio. His voice was noticeably different, quieter. "Dispatch, I need another unit." "What exactly are you looking at?" I asked. Another pause. Then he answered, "My patrol car, but I'm standing next to mine." I looked at the CAD system on my monitor. Only one unit had been dispatched. Only one patrol car should have been on that street. "Reynolds, confirm the second vehicle's unit number." He swallowed. He stopped, then spoke again. "It's 12. His own unit number. A chill ran through me. "License plate." He slowly read it out. Every letter, every number. It matched perfectly. There wasn't a single digit out of place. I immediately turned to the supervisor sitting across the room. He had been listening through the monitoring system. Without saying a word, he walked over and put on another headset. Something was very wrong. Back on the phone, Daniel whispered, "They're both just sitting there." "Who's sitting there?" I asked. "The officers." I frowned. "Daniel, how many do you see?" "4. That didn't make sense. Only 2 officers had responded. "You see 4 people?" "Yes. They're standing beside both patrol cars." "What are they doing?" "They're," he hesitated, "just looking at each other." Officer Reynolds broke the silence over the radio. "They're not moving. Can you see them clearly?" I asked. "Not really. It's dark. The light bar isn't on." "Can you describe them?" "They look like us. Uniforms, same build, same equipment." He took a shaky breath. "But they aren't talking." My supervisor leaned toward my microphone. "Ask him if they're wearing body cameras." I nodded. "Reynolds, do the other officers have body cameras?" A long pause. Then, "No." "What?" "They're wearing the mounts, but there's nothing attached." The room around me suddenly felt much smaller. Dispatch centers are usually noisy, phones ringing, radios talking, people typing, but at that moment, everyone nearby had stopped what they were doing. They were listening. Daniel suddenly whispered, "They're looking at my house now." "Stay where you are," I said immediately. "Do not go downstairs." "I won't. They're walking." "Who is?" "The ones that came in the second car." "Where are they going?" "To my front door." Officer Reynolds keyed his radio, almost at the same moment. "Dispatch, no one's approaching the house." I froze. "What?" My partner and I haven't moved. I looked at the call timer. 10 minutes. It felt like an hour. Then Daniel spoke again. "They're inside." I stared at the waveform on my screen. "How do you know?" "I heard the front door." Officer Reynolds interrupted. "Negative. The front door is still closed." Neither of them was lying. I could hear it in their voices. That was the worst part. Both believed they were describing the same house. Yet what they were seeing was completely different. Then something happened that I still can't explain. Daniel stopped breathing. Not literally. He was holding his breath, trying not to make a sound. I whispered, "Daniel." Very quietly, he answered, "Someone's outside the bedroom." I listened carefully. Nothing. Then a floorboard creaked, slowly, once, then again. Closer, another step, closer still. The sound stopped directly outside the bedroom door. No knocking this time, no voice, just silence. The kind of silence where you know someone is standing only a few feet away, waiting. Daniel whispered, "I can see their shadow, under the door." I looked at the timer. The officers had been on scene for less than 2 minutes. It suddenly hit me. "Reynolds," I shouted into the radio, "get inside the house." "We are," he answered instantly. "The front door's locked." My stomach dropped. Daniel had never mentioned locking it. Then, for the first time during the entire call, someone laughed. It wasn't Daniel. It wasn't either officer. It was a man's laugh, low, brief, almost amused. It came through Daniel's phone, as if whoever was standing outside the bedroom door had heard every word we'd said. Daniel whispered one final sentence. before the line filled with static. "He knows you're listening." The call disconnected. The dispatch room erupted into motion. My supervisor immediately ordered every available unit to Daniel's address. I kept staring at the blank call screen. For the first time in 6 years, I found myself hoping the caller had made the whole thing up. Because if he hadn't, someone or something had been listening to every word we said. The second Daniel's call dropped, every dispatcher in the room stood up. Officer Reynolds didn't wait for backup anymore. He kicked the front door open. Over the radio, I could hear boots pounding across hardwood floors. "Phoenix Police, show me your hands." No response. The house was quiet, too quiet. Room by room, they cleared the first floor. The living room, the kitchen, the laundry room. Everything looked normal. Nothing was out of place. No broken windows, no signs of forced entry, no blood, no footprints. Then they headed upstairs. I could hear every step through Reynolds' body camera. Slow, measured, professional. The hallway came into view. 3 closed doors. One of them was the guest bedroom, the room Daniel said he was hiding in. Officer Reynolds stopped outside the door. He looked at his partner, then slowly pushed it open. The bedroom was empty. I frowned at my monitor. "Check the closet." Reynolds nodded. The closet door was already open. Inside were a few coats, an old suitcase, nothing else. No Daniel, no intruder, no one. Then his partner called out, "Hold on." He pointed toward the floor. A heavy wooden dresser had been shoved against the bedroom door. From the inside, Reynolds looked confused. If Daniel had barricaded himself in, how had the room become empty? There was no window large enough to climb through. The attic hatch was sealed shut, and the bedroom had only one door, the same one they had just opened. As crime scene investigators arrived, I finally took off my headset. It was almost 4 in the morning. I couldn't stop replaying Daniel's last words in my head. "He knows you're listening." Later that morning, I drove to the house. Dispatchers usually don't visit active scenes, but after 6 years on the job, I'd never handled a call like this. The neighborhood looked ordinary. Tree-lined streets, kids' bicycles in driveways, neighbors walking their dogs. Nothing about the place suggested that a man had disappeared less than 2 hours earlier. Detective Sarah Mills met me at the front door. "You were the dispatcher?" I nodded. She handed me a pair of shoe covers. "We found something." She led me upstairs, back to the guest bedroom. The dresser had been moved. Crime scene tape covered the doorway. I expected blood or signs of a struggle. Instead, she pointed to the closet. "Look closely." At first, I didn't see it. Then, I noticed faint scrape marks on the hardwood floor. The closet had been moved recently. The entire built-in closet. 2 investigators carefully pulled it away from the wall. Behind it was an opening, barely 3 feet high, hidden so well that no one would have noticed it during a normal inspection. It led into a narrow crawl space between the walls. Dust covered everything, except a single path. Someone had been using it recently. One detective crawled inside with a flashlight. The tunnel stretched farther than anyone expected, past the guest bedroom, behind another bedroom, then down toward the first floor. Finally, it ended behind the kitchen pantry. A concealed wooden panel opened into the house. Whoever built it had created a way to move through nearly every room without being seen. The entire dispatch room had assumed Daniel was imagining things. Now, we knew someone really could have been inside that house, listening, watching, waiting. But the crawl space held one more surprise. Near the far end, investigators found a folding chair, several empty water bottles, canned food, a flashlight, and a cheap prepaid cell phone. The battery was dead. There was no SIM card, no fingerprints, no DNA, nothing that identified who had been living there. Only one thing stood out, a small spiral notebook, Its pages were mostly blank, except for the final page. Written in black ink was a single sentence. He answered the phone. Detective Mills looked at me. "What do you think it means?" For the first time since the call came in, I didn't have an answer, and somehow that scared me more than anything Daniel had said. For the next 3 weeks, Daniel Walker was the most wanted missing person in Arizona. Search teams combed the neighborhood. Canine units searched every nearby park. Detectives interviewed friends, family, co-workers, anyone who might know where he'd gone. Nothing. No bank activity. No phone activity. No surveillance footage showing him leaving the house. It was as if he'd simply stopped existing. The hidden crawl space became the center of the investigation. Forensic teams spent days collecting evidence: the folding chair, the empty food cans, the prepaid phone. Every item was tested. No fingerprints, no usable DNA. Even the notebook revealed nothing. The ink was common, the paper was generic, the handwriting matched no one connected to the case. Police searched neighboring homes. One elderly woman remembered hearing noises inside her walls late at night. She assumed it was rats. Another neighbor reported seeing a man wearing a dark hoodie, walking through backyards just before sunrise. Security cameras caught only a shadow, never a face. By December, the investigation had gone cold. Life inside the dispatch center slowly returned to normal. New calls, new emergencies, new tragedies. But every time my headset beeped, I found myself thinking about Daniel, wondering if he was still alive. Then, on January 14th, my extension rang, not a 911 line, an internal administrative line. Hardly anyone outside the department knew that number. I answered anyway. "Phoenix Emergency Communications. This is Ethan." Silence. Then, a familiar voice. "Hey," it was Daniel. I recognized it instantly. Every dispatcher remembers certain voices. His was one of them. I stood up so quickly my chair rolled into the wall. "Daniel?" No answer, only slow breathing. I signaled my supervisor to trace the call. He immediately started recording. "Daniel, where are you?" His reply was barely above a whisper. "I need you to listen." "Okay, don't interrupt me." I didn't. They never lived in the walls. My heart started pounding. "What do you mean?" The walls were how they listened. Before I could ask another question, the line crackled, like someone moving the phone. Then Daniel whispered something that made no sense. "They're changing houses now." The trace completed. My supervisor looked at his screen, then looked back at me. His face had gone pale. The call wasn't coming from a cell phone. It wasn't coming from a landline. It wasn't coming from anywhere. The system displayed only 2 words: source unknown. I kept Daniel talking. "Where are you?" "I don't know." "Can you see anything?" "A hallway." "What kind of hallway?" "Doors. Lots of doors." He paused. "They all sound different." I frowned. "What do you hear?" He answered immediately. "People calling 911. Every hair on my arm stood up. "Daniel, listen carefully." "If this is a joke." "It isn't," he interrupted. "I've heard your voice hundreds of times, but every time I open the door, it isn't you." Then, for the first time during the call, I heard another sound, a knock, 3 slow knocks, exactly like the ones I'd heard weeks earlier. Knock, knock, knock. Daniel stopped talking. Very quietly, he whispered, "They found me." I shouted into the phone, "Daniel." No response. "Daniel." Another knock, closer. Then the call disconnected. Despite every effort, the trace led nowhere. No tower, no address, no location, nothing. The recording was archived. The case remained open. Officially, Daniel Walker is still listed as a missing person. I resigned from dispatch 6 months later. People assume it was because of stress. It wasn't. It was because of something that happened on my final night. As I was cleaning out my locker, my replacement walked over and smiled. He said, "I had a strange caller tonight." I laughed. "You'll get used to it." He shook his head. "No, this guy wasn't asking for help. He just wanted to know something." I felt my stomach tighten. What did he ask? The new dispatcher looked at me. He asked, "Is Ethan still working tonight?" I never told anyone what happened next. I simply picked up my box, walked out of the building, and never came back. I still keep my phone on silent every night, not because I don't want to be disturbed, because once or twice a year, usually sometime after 2 in the morning, an unknown number calls. If I let it ring, it stops after exactly 3 rings. If I answer, there's never a voice, just breathing, and then 3 slow knocks. Knock, knock, knock. Maybe Daniel Walker is still missing. Maybe someone was living inside his walls. Maybe there was a perfectly rational explanation that investigators simply never found. Or maybe some emergency calls don't come from people asking to be rescued. Maybe they're warnings. Warnings that arrive just a little too late. And if you ever find yourself awake at 2 in the morning and your phone rings from an unknown number, listen carefully, because before anyone says a word, you might hear 3 slow knocks.